What's up, guys? My name is Alex Jimenez. I'm the founder of IX Media. We made our clients a little over $500,000 in email and SMS marketing revenue. And in this video, I wanted to break down our entire tech stack. So what softwares we use to create copy, what softwares do we use to create emails, what softwares do we use to send out emails in behalf of our clients, depending on their specific needs, our entire process, all the softwares that we use. I'm going to break it down in this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get to it. All right, so the first platform I want to go over is Klaviyo. Now, what is Klaviyo? Klaviyo is an ESP. All that stands for is an email service provider, and this is the platform you're going to use to send out emails in behalf of your brand. Now, why am I going Klaviyo first? Why is this the most important one? Well, if you don't have a software to send out emails, you're probably not going to send out any emails. So this is the platform I suggest using. If you're using Shopify, they have their own, they have their own little features that allows you to send out emails and using the Shopify platform. But honestly, it's kind of dookie. I'd say the least. It's really not good. It's not intuitive. And I always suggest using Klaviyo. Now, granted, this is the most expensive email service provider out there. I'm just going to go over the software so you get used to it. This is a dummy account, by the way. But it is the most expensive software. I'll go through the pricing plans in a second. But it is by far the most intuitive platform. It is the easiest. And this is the software I personally think is going to have the most potential going into 2026. It is the best one to warm up your deliverability. This one creates the least amount of headaches. It's super easy to use. This is the software that we use about half of our clients. And a little bit about the pricing. As I mentioned, it is the most expensive platform out there for sending out emails. If you have about 25,000 active profiles, you're going to be looking at $400 a month. But again, even if you're starting out, it's not that bad, right? If you're, let's just say you have 5,000 profiles around there, it's only $100 a month. I suggest going with Klaviyo. It's the go-to for us. As an alternative, if you feel like Klaviyo is a little bit too expensive, the one that we use for about half of our clients as well is Bytespeed. Now, Bytespeed is a lot cheaper than Klaviyo. I will be very upfront about that. They're a new software, so give them a bit of slack. They're not perfect yet, obviously not to the level as Klaviyo, but they're a lot more cheap. This is a little bit about what, how the software looks like. It's not as intuitive as Klaviyo. Like, for example, if you want to create if you want to send out an email, you literally have to create a template, and then once you create a template, you have to upload it to campaigns, which they name broadcast, and then you send it out, which honestly, it's a lot easier if you just do it on Klaviyo. So if you want to go the cheaper route, you could go Bytespeed. The other benefit that they do have is, since it is a startup and they're in India, they're a lot easier to respond to. So if you want to talk to somebody in the company, it's super, super easy to do. But then again, you have Klaviyo support if you have a plan. So, it does kind of match. But what I will say to wrap this part up is, if you want a platform that just is super, super easy to use, it helps a lot, especially with the deliverability aspect. It's super intuitive. I suggest going with Klaviyo. Go with Klaviyo. So basically what I'm telling you, if price is the most important part, then I would go Bytespeed. And honestly, their biggest selling point is WhatsApp marketing. So that's not even, email and SMS isn't the most important part, but it is a lot cheaper. What platform do I use to send out emails? I would go one of these two. All right, so the next platform I want to go over is Figma. Now, Figma is a software that we use to create and design our emails. Now, Figma, honestly, I don't really have to say much about it. It's honestly the best one to use. If you're debating Canva or Figma, I would always go Figma. It's not too expensive. I think it's like $20 to $40 per seat. So per person that uses Figma, it's only like $20 to $40 per month. But it's super, super easy to use. The biggest selling point that I would say, why you should use Figma instead of Canva is just the amount of things you could do with the design. Super, super easy comparative to Canva. For example, I could do stuff like this. It's not crazy, but stuff like this. I could round it. I could change the colors like this. Very, very easy. I'm just trying to mess with the platform so you can see it. But it's just a lot easier to use. And especially if you have a big team, you need a lot of people in that team. You want to have a lot of people using the software. This is the best one to use. The last little note I will make using Figma against Canva, which is our personal biggest reason why we use it, is when we're creating the emails for our clients, even if you're a brand owner, this is still important because you want to make sure that it's laid out pretty clean, is that it's not like with Canva where it's let me actually show you what Canva looks like. So this is Canva. Instead of having the emails be like this, where it's literally one email here, and then you got to scroll down here, and then you got to scroll down here, it's very, very hard to navigate through the emails opposed to having just a big old board full of all the emails at one glance. You can literally just zoom in, zoom out. As you can tell, it's a lot easier to use. So I would suggest going with Figma. There's really no purpose to use Canva unless you're creating GIFs. If you create GIFs, I would always go Canva. That's the best one to create GIFs. Super, super easy to use. But for 99% of the email designs you're making, I would use Figma. Next one I want to talk about is FreePic. Now, free pick is honestly like banana, if I had to put it simply. But this allows you to create AI images for your own product. So a lot of the times you don't have a lot of brand assets. You haven't had a lot of professional photography for your products. A lot of times you don't even need it in 2026, right? Going to the new year, you create images like this that is literally 100% AI. This is 100% AI. And this is where we use a lot of the background images, a lot of the images that have the product like super front and center that you have to make sure that it looks good. We use free pick. Quality is 10 out of 10, as you could tell. This bottle, like, I want to stress how important this is. This is 100% AI. The bottle itself is real, but the image of the bottle never had any the droplets around the bottle. The cap was never open. There was never a wine glass. So if you're thinking of using something like that, I would suggest free pick. Next software I want to talk about is the infamous ChatGPT. So obviously ChatGPT, this is the one that we use to create copy for our clients. Now, I'll say this, it's not necessarily the AI that is the most important for creating copy. I hear what's the other one? Anthropic is really good for copy too. You can use Grok, you can use Anthropic, but for creating the copy, the most important thing is the prompt that you give it. I'll link the first link in the description will be the video of how we create copy for our own brands. But just to give you a perspective, this is kind of the platform. The reason why you use ChatGPT, honestly, just because it's super easy to organize. So for example, I just gotta click IX Media Copy, and then we go somewhere with different clients. I click on a random brand, and then it gives us the copy for there, and it's a lot more organized. But again, the most important thing is the prompt that you give it. Just to give you a sneak peek of what that prompt looks like, it's quite a lot, but basically we give it a lot of email designs that were really well performing for that brand. So if we just sign a new client on board, we're gonna see what are the best performing emails they sent out in the past, and then we give them this whole AI prompt. Now it's a lot of stuff, and it requires two steps. That's the best one for creating copy. Next software I want to talk about is OneText. Now, I'm not going to go to any specific client just because of privacy. The other one was the dummy account. But OneText is one of the best platforms we've ever used for SMS marketing. The biggest reason why that is because their biggest unique selling point is they allow people to buy your product directly on the SMS message. So instead of saying, okay, click this link and then go to the landing page, and then after going to the landing page, you got to go to cart and then checkout, and then before that, picking the specific product that you want, the size and all that, because you literally just say, respond Y for this size, and then it'll automatically ship to them and they'll place the order. That's the biggest unique selling point. And honestly, their customer success is honestly super nice. Love to use them. We don't use it for many of our clients because they love Klaviyo, but for anybody wanting to use SMS and want to go a step further, I would definitely suggest using OneText. From my experience, it is a little bit more expensive than Klaviyo, but to put it very simply, they'll work with you. If you have proof of your current receipts and billing, that's all I'm going to say. But they're really well. And the last thing I'll mention, the conversion rate on that feature that I was telling you, where people could buy on the SMS message, like literally just respond Y and we'll send it over, like we'll literally ship it to your house. That's called text to buy. Their text to buy features conversion rate is crazy, and I'm not even saying that lightly. It's really good. That's what I would suggest if you're thinking of going taking SMS one step further. But that's the one that we use for SMS marketing. Last and certainly not least is Alia. Now Alia, honestly, from my experience, beats any other platform. I mentioned this. Their customer success team and just their people, the team, 10 out of 10. I love those guys and gals. But they honestly kill it with their platform. Now, what is Alia? Alia is a software dedicated software for pop-ups. So, how do you get people to subscribe to your emails? You have a pop-up form that looks something like this. Hopefully, it shows up soon. Something like this. It allows people to subscribe to your email address, and that's it. But instead of having like a normal basic pop-up form that's just like, get 20% off, enter your email address, this is Alia. It literally has a little Quizlet or a little quiz or a little game to get people to say, okay, you know what, let me actually participate in this. And then in this case, it's you got a mystery discount, favorite type of treat. By the way, this UK brand, that's the correct spelling of favorite. You click, for example, dough balls, and then you just put in your email address. So I'm going to put, okay, well, now you know my emails. But their conversion rate is honestly incredible. They also, this last little thing I'll mention before I go back on the page, they also have this little storyboard. So not only do they get people to convert really high on your website to subscribe to your email marketing, not only that, but after they submit their emails, they also get this little pop form explaining the story behind the brand. Now, you can put whatever you want. Typically, from my understanding and for our brands, We typically just tell more about the story. So from Yorkshire to your oven, pizza night's made simple, and then you could just go through the entire story to get an extra 5% off, 10% off, so forth and so on. Last thing I'll mention on here is their two biggest features that I love is their A/B testing. Absolutely love it. I honestly forgot the name of the actual. They have like a name for it. I think it's called smart testing or something like that. But their A/B testing is honestly phenomenal. Super easy to use A/B tests, and their own team, I speak from personal experience, they'll create the A/B test for you. They'll help create the software. And the last thing I'll mention about Alia is their team will help you create the pop-up form yourself. So instead of saying, oh man, I don't know how to create this crazy looking pop-up form that looks like this, and so forth and so on, their customer success team, from my understanding, will help you out in creating that pop-up form for you. So it's my personal favorite software out of all of them, except maybe Klaviyo, because Klaviyo is just killing it with their software. But super easy to use, and obviously the conversion rate is through the roof. But anyways, those are the softwares we personally use at IX Media. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Talk to you guys in the next one. God bless you guys. Jesus Christ loves you.